all the stuff is happening here. Do I have the intro? I do. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
That's not my idea of restful, all right? This is restful. Hanging around the house, just being lazy, and that's what I want to do. I just want to hang around, be lazy, listen to the ball game, and drink a couple hundred beers and maybe smoke an occasional cigar outside. I'll fix the barbecue in the backyard if you want me to. I'll do that. All right, this is what I need, Carol. I need this. And you'll see, at the end of the week, I'll be a brand new human being.
It's your vacation.
I hate cul-de-sacs.
This is Film Sack.
Dick Miller.
Oh, sure.
Hello, and welcome to Film Sack. This is Film Sack, mining the very depths of film entertainment for all mankind, episode 638. I'm Scott Johnson, and I'm joined today by Brian. He's almost as hairy as Bruce Dern Dunaway.
No, I'm pretty hairy, but not that hairy. Oh, hi. This week on Film Sack, we take an old man's poodle poop on the mowed lawn of the streaming service Suburbs of Netflix. When we drive this classic comedy mystery thriller from the late 80s down to the street and bang the hell out of it with a stick. I've never seen that. I've never seen anybody watch. Okay, seen it 1,000 times. And I just might snap and bury you all in my backyard in the rain. The neighbors peering through their windows. What's this? It's a bone. It's a human femur bone. Anywho, I'm going to use this part of my intro to tell you guys about what this movie means to me and how if you shit on it, I will staple your asses shut. In 1989, I took my 2 younger sisters to the theater to see this on release. I was 16 and they were 8 and 6. It was during a time when our family was going through a divorce. And to hear my sisters tell it, I might as well have taken them to see The Exorcist. Satan is good. Satan is our pal. And now my oldest sister, she lives in a cul-de-sac not too dissimilar from the one portrayed in this week's movie. And I like to think that maybe, just maybe, I'm responsible for a little bit of her daily anxiety. Brothers are the best, especially ones who are Theodore. Hey, Randy, no tan lines this morning. Looks nice. Yummy meatball.
Nicely done. I also like the little trip through time there. That was nice.
Yeah.
We learned a little something about you along the way.
Yeah, I didn't expect that today. All right, let's move over now to Randy. If this was in the age of HOAs, that house would have been fined out of existence years ago. Jordan.
Aloha, Scott. Brian. Did I ever tell y'all about the time I was a trash man who worked on the back of the trash truck?
No.
True story. Depending on your partner, you could have a lot of time back there to figure out how to reinvent yourself. Become an investor, or maybe a writer, or a self-help guy. You could write a self-help book about investing. You just got to believe in yourself. You also have to keep your eyes open and pay attention to what all these weird residents are up to. And pay attention to what they're throwing away. That's where the action is. I've seen them all. And I'm pretty good at spotting a nosy neighbor who's going to be successful at knowing what they're nosing. In fact, I've developed 3 rules for being the best nosy neighbor you can be. Number 1, paint your house. And while you're doing it, wear a shiny leather jacket with huge collar flaps and silver studs all over it. Be as conspicuous as possible. Unless, number 2, use all of the secrecy tactics you learned in Vietnam to keep your neighbors from knowing what you're doing. Wear camo, use super old clunky radios, and most importantly, completely ignore that your Midwestern neighborhood is in Southern California where the trees are sparse and you are clearly visible. Number 3, when you suspect that your neighbor is grinding up penises in their basement, you need to talk to an expert. What you want to do is go on down to the penis mill and talk to the dick miller.
Dick Miller.
Always talk to the Dick Miller before you
Don't
proceed.
talk to the Dick Trickle, though.
No.
Yeah.
Good Lord, no.
Oh, my.
With us, finally, Brian, someone needs to call Home Protective Services about Corey Feldman living by himself over there, Ibbot.
Right? I mean, how old is this kid? Where are his parents? All right. If you thought my previous songs were bad, I'm happy to tell you that this one is garbage.
Hold on, is
You
that
went
the
all
first?
in.
Is that the first time you've done the full song? Because that was the full.
I didn't do the
song.
full song. I left out. I left out like two choruses and an instrumental bit. I just happened to actually
I love
grab
the
the end of it
distortion.
and slide it at the end. Slide it in.
Oh,
I love
okay.
the
Yeah.
distortion.
That worked well.
Thank you so much for making me miss Rock Band. So much.
Oh yeah, that song was permanent rock band
that was
material.
great. Yeah.
All the time. That was awesome. Guys, we're talking about the film The Burbs, if it wasn't obvious. A lot of you at home are like, wait a minute, what is this? The Burbs? Yes, it is. It's The Burbs. We finally got around to it after so long. We've been trying forever. It is known that Dunaway considers this one of his finest films, or greatest movies he's ever seen. He loves this movie.
Yes, love this film. Go ahead, do your worst.
But didn't realize that so much of that was just tied up in the nostalgia of it. The taking your sisters to see it. So
Wow,
Yeah. It was that, and then my lifelong friend who I bonded with as well. Just 2 years later, we watched this on VHS together for the first time. Because when I saw it in the theater, I wasn't that impressed with it because I was there with my 8 and 6-year-old sisters. But when me and my friend watched it, I was like, yeah, we can watch it again. Me and my friend watched it, and we've been friends ever since then. It was one of the first movies we watched together. So there's a lot of
cool.
Emotional baggage to
Yeah.
the Burbs.
This-
It's just hilarious.
Yeah.
when you watch it with your little sisters, do you spend the entire time like I do this with if I'm watching something with my parents or watching something with Tristan when he was younger? You can't really focus on the movie because you're like, all right, is this what are they thinking of me because I picked this movie, or am I scarring them for life because I picked this movie?
I am definitely the filter, and I'm feeling judged the whole time because I'm the one who picked the film. It's all on me.
Yeah. It's all pretty soft stuff now, but when you're 6 or 8, that's probably a little intense, this movie. Especially when Uncle what's his name shows up, Theodore Gottlieb's character. No, I am not from
Brother
this
Theodore.
No! I love that guy.
Yeah, I thought it was Klaus Kinski until I looked it up. I was like, that's Klaus Kinski, isn't it? But very much alike.
Brother Theodore.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a couple people hit me. Yeah.
If they ever make a live action Year Without a Santa Claus, that is your heat miser right there.
Yeah.
He is ready for the role, Mr. DeMille.
Dig him out of his grave and make him play that
well,
role.
prop him up.
Sure.
Dude, there's no way that dude isn't a zombie now. There's no way.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, dude. He's wandering the streets now. We just don't know it.
His gravestone said something. I think Wabbit told me this. His gravestone says something. I'm trying to recall exactly what it says, but essentially, there is essentially just when you think there's no hope, there's death or something like that. I can't remember to look up
really?
exact, but it's very dark but hilarious.
I mean, he was known for being like that, right? Like he was kind of had that sense of humor.
He was on David Letterman all the time during our generation.
Yeah, big time.
So.
And if you ever asked him, "How do you want a drink?" He'd say,
No.
He'd yell that at you. He'd say, no.
No.
Speaking of this movie, we got to give a little description of it. We got a listener who piped in with their version of it, and we're going to let them be Fake Fletcher today and describe the film The Burbs.
Hey, man. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about The Burbs. An overstressed suburbanite and his neighbors are convinced that the new family on the block is part of a murderous, satanic cult. Can you believe that? That's crazy.
You know what? That's my favorite. I know every time we get a new one in,
I know.
that's my favorite this week.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
That's really good.
I like that film sack intros now provided by the Coen brothers.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was really good. So thank you for that. But we are talking about the 1989 film, Joe Dante directed film, The Burbs, starring Tom Hanks, Bruce Dern, Carrie Fisher, and a load of other people. And, I'll just say right up top, I think Dunaway is right to like it. There's a reason it's a cult classic. It reviewed terribly when it came out, and very quickly on VHS became a massive hit to this day. And everybody, we were looking at it, or no, you guys posted it. Somebody posted it in our Discord about an interview with Tom Hanks about his favorite movie.
Yes.
And then in the comments of the video on YouTube was just miles of people saying the Burbs, the Burbs, the Burbs, the Burbs, the Burbs.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. You're wrong, Tom Hanks. Your favorite movie is The Burbs.
Yeah.
That's what he said, basically.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it.
yeah, you're clearly in the majority. People are very fond of the Burbs.
Yeah.
So,
There's definitely a fan base out there.
yeah.
I want to argue something about the phrase cult classic, because if it just means there are some weirdos out there who like a movie, then it's just like, it's so many movies. And I don't know. I don't want to be precious about the phrase, but there just, like, my initial statement about this thing is like, there's no call to watch it in my life. Like, this is the first time I've ever seen it. I've heard of it, but I've just heard that it was, mediocre or subpar or whatever. And like, there's never been a person in my life ever once that said, hey, you should see this movie. And it's definitely never been at like midnight showings at the indie house and that kind of thing. Like, that's true. That's what I want from the phrase cult classic. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Right.
How's that even defined? I wonder. I'm going to look up the official thing.
I think it's just, if it takes on a life outside of its original run,
rabid fans who have made a cult around the film, whether it deserves it or not, right?
So according
and outside of its original intent, right? Like his Rocky Horror Picture wasn't really intended to become what it became.
Right.
According to the dictionary, it is a noun, and they say this: a work of fiction that is extremely popular with a select audience, but may or may not be successful at the time of the work's original publication. So you might say Iron Giant fits in this category, or
yeah, it doesn't have to be something quote unquote controversial or subversive or bad.
Yeah.
Or
The Room has really ruined us for this understanding, right? The Room is like a cult classic, but it's not a classic at all. It's just a cult movie.
Connie Darko is a cult classic, and it's not a bad film.
You'll get some arguments there with people. Yeah.
Oh, really? On whether or not it's a cult classic, or whether it's...
Well, no, people are polarized about that film because there's so many people that are exposed to it, because the cultists go, you got to watch it. And the people watch it go, stop telling me to watch movies.
Yeah.
I don't like that movie.
I didn't like I watched it based on everyone saying, oh, you have to watch it. And I really dislike Donnie Darko. I do not like it at all. And it's kind of the sort of movie you'd think I would like, but I was just like, ugh, I can't watch this. What the hell's this thing? So I don't know. I think there's maybe even some of that. There's like division sometimes in a cult classic.
Yeah, there is for sure.
But in this case, this one is more like it performed bad in theaters, did well later.
Rejuvenated classic, maybe.
Yeah.
I do think way you defined it, like when it finds success in the secondary market, is kind of its own category, right? It's maybe it's a discovered classic or something. It's like, we didn't want to see it in the theater because it didn't really get us jacked up or jazzed, but once it hit VHS for whatever reason, it just worked. It was the perfect storm.
And I think what I'm on the I like it fence. There's some things in there that I feel if it were, heaven forbid, redone today, probably would be done differently. And
heaven forbid.
Heaven forbid.
You said that.
No, because I don't think this movie
Ricky
should ever
Butler
be redone.
Wouldn't be the neighbor, right?
Well, no. Give poor Corey some work, man. The dude needs some work.
Right.
Sure.
But it's because there are all these weird things in there. There's a weird zoom in and out screaming thing that you don't get anything else like that in other parts of the film. It feels completely like it is a zany moment in a movie that's not zany.
It feels like it was made by multiple people. Like as I was watching it, I was like, oh, this is interesting. I wonder if they're going to do this anymore. No. Okay. So now they're doing this other thing. Like,
right.
It was made by multiple people. We had a lot of comedic actors in this film that they had to do a lot of improv because this was going on during a writer's strike, which I think actually helped this a lot because Dana Olson, the writer, has done some stuff, but nothing is elevated, in my opinion, as the Burbs. And part of that is because they just kind of had to improv a lot of it. They had the story there. They were all familiar with what it's like to live in suburbia. And so they pulled upon their crew of great comedic actors, and they created, in my opinion, a masterpiece.
Yeah. Like there's a scene where Tom Hanks hurls himself. Well, first hurls the gurney into the back of the thing and then jumps on there. according to the trivia, that he did all that on his own. He
It was
was
all
like,
improv?
just made it up, and it's a pretty great scene. The one thing we always forget about Tom Hanks, because in his later years, it's more about just pure acting, and he's recognized for that. But back in the day, his physical comedy was pretty great.
It was great.
Was amazing.
Yeah,
And these 80s and early 90s Tom Hanks comedies, you watch them now, and there's a very twisted uncomfortability about them. Whether it's Money Pit or this, even Bachelor Party. There's
Big.
Big. That's probably when things maybe started to change, and where he started. Splash was kind of this as well, even though it was really early. There's a little bit of an uncomfortability in there that I kind of like. That feels like, hey, here's a whole weird thing about green sky at morning, sailor take warning, blah blah blah, that never goes anywhere and is really just kind of audio filler.
yeah. And the whole
But,
Satan is my friend or Satan is my pal or whatever.
Right.
That line is also apparently completely made up.
How many
on the
times
fly.
have you seen?
Yeah.
How many times have you seen this film?
Me, this is probably the fourth or fifth
Okay.
time. Yeah.
So I will argue that first of all, I think Joe Dante did an amazing job.
He's the comedian in the movie.
Yeah.
Or he's
He
the
really
comic
is.
actor in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to weave something that has all of these amazing callbacks. Even though there's a lot of improv going on, all the actors seem to be not only invested, but also keeping very true to their characters. And I like I said, Joe Dante he's just orchestrating this whole thing, and he keeps it all together. And the things that you talk about, sometimes you miss, because there's things that they will just like say just very passively, offhand, and then it'll just come back. Like my favorite thing that I didn't catch until I don't know, it's probably the sixth or seventh viewing, was like when the detective is talking to Tom Hanks's character at the end. He talks about the ransom note that he left at Walter's house, and you're like, what are we talking about? And I was like, oh yeah, at the beginning, Tom Hanks is writing a note, and it's complicated to explain in a note what happened exactly that they broke into Walter's house. And so he just ends up going, Walter, I have your dog. And so that pays off at the end when he says that the old man says you kidnapped his dog.
Right.
And
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, and that's a really good example of, like, you're absolutely right to say that pays off, because it is how these movies are usually structured. And I couldn't help I was constantly comparing this movie to the movie oh my gosh, I Want My $2, Better Off Dead.
Oh, Better Off Dead.
Oh yeah,
man,
that's so
my
good.
brain
Yeah,
just
that's
now.
a good one.
We got to do that movie
But
too.
it's the same thing. It's in suburbia. It's got, a pretty broad cast of characters and so on. Better Off Dead has so many more jokes, like 10 times more jokes. And what you get used to in that movie is when you see a joke early, you're going to hear it again later, or it's going to come back. Something weird is going to be returned to, right? When it's an object that is important later, we call it Chekhov's gun, right?
Yeah.
And like this movie, I was like, this movie really, it feels aimless. And so I was so happy anytime something got a payoff later, because there's all these things in this movie that I wonder, like, did they really get like 7 takes and they thought this was the best one? Like what, what I'm saying? Like, what if, if this movie had a chance with a script that got revisions and like lots of different jokes, and then we pick the one that works, like, because it just feels like it's very haphazard.
The only real complaints I have about the movie, and these maybe are along the lines of what Ibit was talking about earlier, but in specific, I don't like person-shaped holes in things.
Right. Yeah.
They played it.
That's real good.
They played it so down though. They didn't say, look at they didn't like pan the camera over and go, look, it's a person-shaped hole. No, they just said,
not really.
You almost don't even notice it. You don't even notice it. And all of a sudden, like, wait a minute.
It wasn't as bad as Chevy Chase in a fine mess. No, what was the thing?
Nothing But Trouble.
Nothing But Trouble. It wasn't that bad of a human hole, but it still annoyed me. And also him coming down and touching his molars and going
teeth.
And they're going, and that's not how that works, dude. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, the zoom in and out with the camera, the person-shaped hole. Those things didn't have to be in this film, because it does so well with everything else, and kind of leaves a lot of that stuff up to the the imagination. They don't need to drill the point home that they're freaked out because they found a femur.
Yeah, it's just sort of vaudevillian in a way that I don't think helps the rest of the movie. Now, when I was a kid, would I have cared? Probably not.
Oh no, yeah, for sure.
And that's the reason why we brought this up in pre-show, and I really want to talk about how these kinds of movies where they are. I'm sorry, Brian. I'm not arguing with you about what you like.
Bash it.
But these movies that are kind of like mediocre, and it's got 55% on Rotten Tomatoes, right? It's like the definition of mediocre. Where if it hits you at the right time, especially when you're in your formative years, it can end up sticking with you in really great ways the rest of your life. And so like I think that's like Gremlins for a lot of people. It's other Joe Dante things, which I mean, Gremlins is a better movie than this, but Gremlins isn't like perfect, right? Like it's weird. If you're not in the right place for it when you first see it, you're just gonna go, okay, right?
Yeah.
I think okay, so I've noticed that when I talk to most other, so this is something that happens in movies, and it just happens. I think this movie is a little bit inaccessible to who is presented as outsiders here. They present women as outsiders. The wife, all those roles, they present them as outsiders. And so I've talked to a lot of my friends before who were women, and they're usually kind of lukewarm on the Burbs, like, not really, not for me. And I feel like it's probably because it is, it's all about these grown men basically being kids. They're being, they're like grown up kids essentially.
Yeah, and even the parts at the end where Carrie Fisher is there at the scene of the accident, and he's kind of coming back to her talking about how much he loves her hair and everything. That's like an apology that a kid would make to their mom. Right. She's the mother of this movie, and everyone's the child, not her own child. We barely see little Steve or whatever his name is, or Mike, but we get all these Ricky adult Butler. Men.
Well, Steve, the kid,
and poor Art's wife, who we never hear. Correct me if I'm wrong. You've seen this more than I have. We don't hear anything about Art's wife until the very end. When
we hear about her.
We do. Okay.
Yeah, they talk about it a couple of times. She's on vacation too. She's on a trip.
The only time I remember hearing about it like it, but is the very end when he goes, "My wife's home." He doesn't care about the house.
No, it's the other way around. It's your house is on fire and your wife's home. My house is on fire. It is the other way around. Right?
He says, "My wife is home."
Yeah, that's the whole joke because he's like, "That's worse than a fire."
That's the more. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but the whole time I was thinking, all right, so he's alone. We don't know the story there. He eats all of Tom Hanks's food. He's just like Kramer in this movie.
He's an eater. He eats every time he's in a scene, and there's food nearby. He sticks to that character for improv, and he walks right into it, even in Walter's house.
I loved Rick DeCommon. I thought he was great, and and seeing him when he puts on the equipment to go climbing up the telephone pole to cut the power. It's so funny because his character in Die Hard is the dude who's he's sticking his head out of the manhole going, cut the power, all the power.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was in that.
With the same helmet and the same outfit. It's like it's like, all right, I want that to be the continuation of Art. He lives in LA now, and
that's smart. He's always dressing. He's always dressing up for each occasion. So he's got that electrician's outfit. He's got the Boy Scout outfit when he's going over the wall. Red Rover.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean,
Bruce Dern though for me is the movie. I love him in it.
Absolutely,
I absolutely love Bruce Dern.
I was gonna say Rick DeCommon just feels like they didn't have enough money to get someone like a famous Canadian comic actor.
It should have been Tom, or it should have been.
They didn't have Rick Moranis.
John Candy's your actor. Yeah. That's who it should have been. Yeah.
And so they didn't have that money. They get Rick DeCommon. He's fine, but he doesn't ever reach the highs that someone like Rick Moranis would have, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But Bruce Dern, I can't imagine anyone except maybe if this movie was made 10 years later, maybe Jim Carrey.
Yeah. I was thinking Aykroyd. Aykroyd could have played a good Rumsfeld.
Conspiracy ridden.
Throwing himself around. Dan Aykroyd doesn't throw himself around.
Oh, sure he does.
Back then he could have. Yeah, he could have.
I didn't know Bruce Dern was freaking
Part
gonna-
ninja.
it's just
Yeah,
like,
he's not always a comedic actor, right? He does
No.
very
Oh, no.
serious
No, he's
roles.
almost 90% not a comedic actor. He's
Yeah,
usually a
yeah,
very
yeah.
serious actor and very angry all the time. That dude's just never happy.
And I
But-
don't know why this movie hates the character of his wife, Wendy Shaw, who like she only appears in the doggy style position wearing a bikini or something. I don't get.
Yeah,
I don't understand
Less,
why
line.
this movie
less
hates
than that.
so much.
Basically, shorty shorts that.
They filmed some scenes. They just didn't make it to the final cut. I don't know if you watched the video of what Ibbott sent us, but there's a lot of cut floor stuff that never happened.
She's by the way Francine Smith in American Dad. And the reason she has that job, so Stan's wife, the main lady is her. Right. And she claims the reason she has that job at all is because Seth MacFarlane is a gigantic Burbs fan and wanted her specifically to come do the role, which I thought was pretty funny.
People
and
who
she's
write
also,
comedy
we saw
love-
her. We saw her in Inner Space as the checkout girl that wants to hook up with Martin Short. The kind of new wavy. Forget it, Wendy. You've even got a clip.
Yeah,
Wendy,
forget it, Wendy. No, not a chance, or whatever he says.
Yes, exactly. Another
comedic
Joe
writers. Comedic writers really like this movie. There's a YouTube video with Bill Hader recently talking about how much he loves and how much a classic this is. So
yeah, so
I
think that there's meat. See, I think there's meat on that bone that this movie matters in more than just it's kind of funny after the fact, or we saw it on VHS when we were 10 and we never forgot it, or whatever. I think there's more to it. Like I think there's something else there. It's not perfect, but I would put it up there with other stuff of the time.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a smarter.
absolutely.
It's a smarter movie than other comedy stuff that came out around that time. Like it's a more. I hate to say more cerebral, but how is it? By the way, on Bruce Stern, how is it that he looks the same age in this as he looked in Nebraska?
I know, dude.
From 2013.
What the frick? That guy. I don't know how. He still looks like this. Like.
Yeah,
Nebraska was what 2012 or something, and then
2013. Yeah.
Prior to that, I feel like the only other thing I'd ever seen him in are like maybe a Western or two, and then this. I don't have a lot of. I honestly, maybe you can count on one hand how many Bruce Dern movies I've seen, but I always enjoy him every time.
Yeah, he's about 53 in this movie, and both Tom Hanks and Carrie Fisher are 33.
Yeah,
when they made this movie, and that's really hard to kind of picture, like Tom Hanks and Carrie Fisher were the same age. I don't know why, because there's something about it. I guess
that does seem weird, doesn't it? Like you feel like Carrie Fisher should be older than Tom Hanks,
or something.
Because we've had such a quote unquote relationship with Carrie Fisher over the years that we didn't have with Tom Hanks.
I just remember seeing this for the first time when I saw this back in '89. I guess it would have maybe it was '90. I remember being distracted by her the whole time because in my head, the same thing happened with the Mike Myers movie. Can't think of the name of the damn thing.
Oh, so Married Max Murder or
no, the
Austin Powers.
Austin Powers. What's wrong with me? She was in that. She was.
It's a very good. This is a very good Quincy Jones, though.
Thank you very much. But she was his like therapist or something in that, and or no, she was Dr. Evil's therapist. Anyway, point is, I see her in these movies in the 90s, and I'm just distracted because to me it's Princess Leia, and I can't deal with it. It's like she's not supposed to be here. She's supposed to be in space trying to negotiate a deal between the Empire.
Short hair and no buns or nothing. Come on.
Yeah. So what's great about it though, or brings me to current, is watching her this time made me really appreciate her role and really appreciate her acting that isn't Princess Leia acting.
She's a very strong presence in this film, which they needed because we needed at least one kind of person to be reasonable, and she keeps Tom Hanks' character Ray.
It's like an anchor.
Reasonable
She's a good anchor for everybody, right? I would say that's true.
I mean, Dunaway, you do agree, right? That like there's a cardinal sin here in this movie. Like, like Carrie Fisher
I can't
exists.
see him, but please.
Carrie Fisher exists, and she is so wildly underused. It's almost like I'm trying to convince myself I'm supposed to be entertained and wanting Carrie Fisher to be funny and like wanting her to be present and like
wanting her.
It's hard for me because. Right. It's hard for me because I love Carrie Fisher so much, but honestly, the stuff that's there. There's so much in this movie. I just don't know if you have room to kind of do that. And I think it would take a purity for me from what it is if you really boosted her.
And this is because this movie has, and this is not a cardinal sin. It's just a choice that this movie makes the mistake of cramming in so many people from outside, and none of them really have, like, some of them have a pretty good single joke, right? Like Robert Picardo has a pretty good single joke. But when you just go on and on with cramming people in, you lose space for someone like Carrie Fisher to be funny.
It's fun seeing
she didn't need to be funny.
It's fun to see, like, I never on my bingo card did I ever have we're gonna put Dick Miller and Robert Picardo together as garbage men.
As partners, garbage partners.
Yeah.
Before we fully leave Carrie Fisher, Scott, did you enjoy watching her make pancakes and sticking her fingers in her mouth about 8 times during the process?
I'm going to say this is going to sound completely opposite of what I would normally say, but there's something okay about Carrie Fisher doing it.
Right. Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. That whole scene, the whole scene of right after Art's got a gun and he comes over and goes, "Hey, what are you doing? You're making food in there?" And he comes in. That whole scene is so full of background stuff that's going on. It is freaking insane.
When he's picking out on the ribs and putting,
Did you notice he ate the dog food and then as he's making faces, he like reaches back. Carrie Fisher's character's walking behind him and he's just grabbing food from everywhere and she's feeding the dog and he just reaches back and he starts eating it, but he keeps on talking and then he makes a face and Carrie Fisher puts down the food for the dog. It's just like it's huge layers of stuff going on.
Yeah, that kind of thing is always a team effort. I'm quite sure that is always a team effort. When we're not talking about a Coen Brothers movie, right? Where a couple of people have done everything, but like in a movie like this, and for that stuff, I was always thinking about Real Genius, because Real Genius has this set dressing that is incredibly interesting if you stop and look at it. Like the movie will just fly you by people doing like a weird experiment, and how a team of people have gone into a laboratory set and figured out what they're going to put there that's funny to look at and to ponder. You know, like that's all over this movie too. The team of people responsible for the practically abandoned house next door and the property, I want to applaud them, because it's like you should just pause and stare at that thing. Somebody put a lot of effort into that thing.
Sure.
How terrible were the naps? Because they'd only been living there for what would they say, 6 months, a year, or something like that. I'm trying to remember now, but
that is not 6 months of decay.
No,
not even close. Like that looked like a haunted house, man. That was nasty.
Yeah, I like that the street, of course, was a character in this film, and the fact that there was something they kept you wondering: is it supernatural that's going on? Is it what exactly is going on?
I kind of wish it wasn't the same street I've seen in so many other things,
Nah,
but
right.
look, again, that's not a big sin. That's just like that's a choice. They made a choice.
They did make a choice. They could have done it.
We never leave the street.
Right. Yeah. The whole movie.
You're literally trapped in the burbs, and it's a cul-de-sac.
Yeah, you're trapped.
Yep.
In cul-de-sacs.
Feel.
Funny enough, I'm reading a horror book right now, or a short horror book about a street. It's all about a street, and it's a cul-de-sac, and it's very bad that it's a cul-de-sac. And then I watched this and went, "Oh shit, we're all about cul-de-sacs this week." Like you might say, "Was this filmed in the U.S.?" And the guy would say,
"No."
I mean, Midwest is what I meant to say. And he'd say,
"No."
And then I'd say, "Well, where was it filmed?" They'd say, "Well, it was shot in the Universal backlot and has been used for many films and television shows, including Desperate Housewives from '04. Some of the buildings have changed over time, but Walter's house is the only building on the lot that hasn't changed at all."
Well, and so many times we see Bruce Dern on the peak of the roof of somebody's house, and behind him are the Hollywood Hills. And like you can see clearly, you can see the Hollywood Hills. It's very clear shots, you know, like they didn't try to even obscure it.
They didn't cover it up.
Like, I mean, that's a choice. It's fine.
Sure. I like the miniature stuff at the beginning when, this is all pre-Google Maps, so you couldn't really zoom in and do that effectively without making a miniature. So they make this miniature of the neighborhood, and the grass looks like, turf.
I'm always a fan when they use the Universal logo or the MGM or the Warner Brothers logo as part of the movie, right? Like Waterworld does this well, where it shows the polar ice caps. The Universal globe the logo disappears, the ice caps melt, and part of the land disappears. It's so great.
I love that. Yeah, it's maybe that's probably my favorite use of it. I'm trying to think of another good one, but
yeah,
the Flintstones one is another good one where I think either they do Pangea or they just I think they do Pangea where they just push all the continents together.
I think that's right. Yes. Yeah, that's cool. That's a great idea.
I do like how they zoom from outer space at the opening, and then they do the same pull out as well. But it's just like, it makes you feel even more claustrophobic when you realize how zoomed in and just locked into that one little location you're at. Did you guys, what'd you think about Mr. Mooney's, what'd you think about Mr. Mooney from the Lucy show for doing Walter? What'd you think about that?
Yeah, so that guy died not long after this thing was made, but he looked immediately familiar to me, and I couldn't figure it out. So then I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, Lucy. He's from all that whole era, like all that 50s shit. He was in all of that stuff back
on
then.
His IMDb page.
Yeah.
Gail Gordon, there's a photo of Gail Gordon looking exactly like Bill Dana as Jose Jimenez, and it's really throwing me.
Yeah.
But the whole thing with his toupee, it was like one of those things, like where, like I said, you introduce it early, you pay it off later, and that's what I want more of in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he was in two. So he was in the Lucy show and Here's Lucy as two different people. Wasn't even the same guy. That's crazy.
I don't think I remember that.
McGillicuddy. It was just I remember him as the boss at the bank or something. That must have been the Lucy show, right? Wasn't she?
Yeah, Lucy show.
Yeah.
Which was color post Desi Arnaz, all that stuff.
It's weird.
The Burbs was his last film. He did some TV after that, but this guy was, that's it for him. He's good. And his dog, by the way, is the same dog.
Queenie?
The toy poodle Queenie was played by the same dog that played Precious in The Silence of the Lambs.
That's
really
right.
Wow. That dog has seen some stuff.
Yeah, it has.
I know. That poor dog.
Put the lotion on the skin.
On people's lawns too.
What a funny career that dog had. Yeah.
That poop looked real, man. That was some good looking poop on Rumfield's yard there, man.
I wasn't sure.
Is it what the kid do we know the name of the weird neckbeard boy that lives in the Kopech's house?
That's
he had the name. Yeah,
that's
Pinocchio.
Courtney Gaines plays him.
They really called it.
No.
He's called. Hold on, it's Hans.
That's Hans Klopek.
Hans Klopek.
There we go.
Courtney Gaines. Yeah.
Is it the poodle poop that he slips on at the end when he's trying to get away after crashing the ambulance? Because that'd be perfect. A perfect little.
Oh, that would have been great. That would have been great.
But I didn't even catch that. Like when you just said it, I realized. Oh, I just thought it was like wet yard.
It might have just been a wet yard.
And by the way, so that dude always plays this kind of character. He did this in the Hills, not Hills Have Eyes, the Kids in the Corn Kids. What's it called?
Children of the
Corn Kids.
The Corn Kids. He's the guy says Malachi, isn't he?
No, he's not. He's not Malachi. Oh. He's a different one, but he's prominent. Anyway, you look at him now and you're like, he does my taxes.
Yeah.
Just a tax guy.
And someone, once again, I hate to be always making this complaint, but there is a known for section on an IMDb page. You go to Courtney Gaines and you ask, what is he known for? Some agent has gone into IMDb Pro and only listed things from the last 10 years. And
really?
I'm sorry, but Courtney Gaines is known for being that 80s weirdo, not for The Wrath of Becky or whatever's in that.
Whatever that is, I've never even heard of that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find who he.
It's brand new.
I mean, this is
now,
all
my most recent. The time I saw him most recently though was in an episode of My Name Is Earl because I was doing a watch through.
He's Lloyd.
Episode. He plays a guy who's lost faith in humanity because he bought like a car that had like a hillbilly tune-up or whatever. Anyway, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's the guy. That's Hans.
His character is called Lloyd. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Ibit, I owe you an apology. He did play Malachi. I have him mixed up with somebody else.
Oh, good. Okay.
And that was his debut. It was the first thing he ever did.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wow. I'm shocked by that. But he was in all that old weird 80s stuff. And then a bunch of shit, in the 90s, Alias and Sweet. Oh, that was 2000s. He's in that movie my wife loves, Sweet Home Alabama. He's the sheriff in that thing. Like this guy has worked.
Wow.
Look at him,
Yeah.
all the way up till today.
He's got a versatile look that can go from like Cletus the slack-jawed yokel, apparently, all the way up to Joe Franklin, your accountant.
Yeah, that's wild.
And he's affected my life. He's affected my life and probably people around me the most, because I don't think anyone's ever asked me, "Oh, who's in this picture?" And I haven't said it came with the frame. I always say that.
And weren't we just talking about oh no, somebody else was talking about L.A. Noire, the video game. He's in that, and I remember his face pretty clearly. Because that movie was all about capturing actual faces and then doing all their
the dude
stuff.
from Mad Men. My gosh, that's like I feel like that's one of his film roles, because
the fact
that guy
that
from Mad Men so prominent as the main character in L.A. Noire.
The fact that they never made either a sequel or something using that tech again is mind-boggling to me.
Yeah. Totally.
It was really good. You were supposed to.
It was really good.
It was the first game I ever played where your human ability to recognize patterns in people's expressions was part of the detective work, right?
Determining on if they're whether or not they're lying, and it was great. It was
really
great.
Awesome. I don't know what happened there, but never went past that. The only other trivia I have here is this film received the worst reviews of any film released in the year 1989, according to many who worked on the film.
Worse than Turner and Hooch?
Yep, worse than Turner and Hooch. Let's see, including the director, editor, Marshall Harvey, and co-stars Wendy Shaw and Corey Feldman. They hated it too. They thought it was the worst thing they'd done. But the box office success is now deemed a cult, was a box office success. It made money and is now deemed a cult classic, according to
you gotta forgive Corey Feldman here. Like he got cast when he was 17. He was 18 years old when they made this movie, and they have no idea what to do with this character. I don't understand why the character's in the movie, because they
couldn't get Charlie Sheen, apparently.
Yeah, right. Corey Feldman in the character is a genius. Like every chance he gets, he's so great, except the very, very end. We'll talk about that later. But like every chance he gets to be funny, like from the beginning, the first time you see him, he's carrying 2 completely full gallons of paint, and he goes for it. This guy does not hold back.
Nope.
Right?
Nope.
And then as the movie goes on, you're like, well, where's Corey Feldman? I want him. You know, like he's not got anything to do.
I think the whole point of him, and he's the one that gets to break the fourth wall at the end and look at the audience and say how much he loves this GD street or whatever.
This street,
or whatever he says. Like, I understand the movie wanting to have this character for a couple reasons. One, it's like kind of our eyeballs a little bit, but also brings in the youth watchers. And then also
he's funny.
He's pretty funny, and he's also got this antagonistic relationship specifically with Rumsfeld. And I think that maybe some of that's needed in your neighborhood stereotype.
Yeah.
You got to have the kids who piss you off or whatever.
Yeah, and this also pulls in a little bit of his audience, his following. He was super popular at the time, kind of.
Sure.
You had to get a Corey in your film, you were doing all right.
Right, exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
but if you have 2 Corys in your film, it's a hit or miss.
Yeah.
Like,
I just want to
not
say
everything's Lost Boys.
the May December couple are named Rumsfeld, right?
Is it?
Rumsfeld, correct.
Oh,
yes.
okay, yeah.
Not Donald Rumsfeld. It's Rumsfeld.
I think I mix it because he's very militaristic and Rumsfeld was,
Right. I do the same thing.
Secretary of Defense.
This Corey Feldman IMDb photo is just bothersome. I don't like it.
Oh no!
It just makes me feel, I don't know, weird. I don't like it.
Michael Jackson cosplay.
Well, it's all he does now, but it's something about it. I can't put my finger on it. It's artfully done, whatever, but it's just like, I can't.
Yeah,
this kid weirds me out these days.
For me, it's the skinniness, it's the eating disorder that you can clearly see on this guy. It just, I don't know. It's hard to look at.
Maybe it's just Zampic. Maybe that's all.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a picture of him in like pink velour that's later in his IMDb photo collection that I think would be a far better IMDb photo. I'll put it in our.
All right, I'm in.
It's like platform pink loafers, a completely velour
Love that.
sweatsuit, and then a pink.
I love those moon boots that he's got on.
Moon loafers, pink moon loafers.
Moon loafers. Yeah.
Oh, look at those! Holy shit. Okay, so I'm going to say this. I don't think Corey Feldman is all that entertaining. He sort of just annoys me. But I will say this: This dude has never stopped working his ass off to be relevant, and I respect it.
Yeah.
And you will not catch me criticizing Corey Feldman because we used him up. That's our bad. Anything that Corey Feldman is
The
now
Hollywood
is
machine chewed him up
what
and
we
spit him
did.
out, and we bought tickets to the whole
and
thing.
we let it. Yeah, when we bought tickets to the whole thing.
Yeah, no, I had no doubt about that.
Apparently, he was in some sitcom with Waylon Flowers and Madame from what was it, Tic Tac, Hollywood Squares.
What?
I swear to God, I'm looking through his photos here, and there's like,
really?
Here, I'll put another copy of this. I don't know what this is from. Copy, paste. Here you go. That is Madame over in the cage on the right.
Oh, the puppet Madame.
Yeah, Waylon Flowers and Madame.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what to do with
this.
this.
From a show called Madame's Place. So apparently,
yes.
Apparently there was a sitcom all about Waylon Flowers and Madame.
There it is, 82 to 83. Didn't last long.
Total surprise.
It looks like anyone else in here we know.
What is this?
Corey Feldman.
Judy Landers, we've seen in a couple things. Edie McClurg.
Edie McClurg is in it. I love her. Joyce Brothers is in it. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to seek this out, but I can't believe this existed.
I would be amazed if you can find this streaming on anything, even in a very complex way.
Right? It's got to be. Yeah, we got to try though.
Maybe DVD, maybe a DVD set out there somewhere, but
wild. Absolutely
I'm
wild.
watching a trailer right now on IMDb that's showing me him like in a Sling Blade type thing where he's wearing overalls and a bad haircut. What is this? They won't show me what the name of the movie is though.
Is he saying French?
I don't know. I'm not turning it on.
Okay, you're not going to play it? You don't want to hear it?
Yeah. Well, I'll figure it out eventually.
Also, Madame's Place doesn't have a trailer either, which is a bummer. I'd really like to see that.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. Like even just a promo coming up tonight after Knight Rider.
Just a clip. Yeah. I'm sure there's a clip on YouTube.
It's funny because when there's even short run stuff like, Walter, which was the Radar spinoff from MASH, or even after MASH, or any of these things, I was aware of all of these short run didn't work out. Flo, Enos. I knew about all of them. I've never heard of this one. This is all new to me. No idea.
Can you believe that Corey Feldman and Dick Miller are the people we've seen the most on Film Sack?
Shut up. Really? Is that true?
We've seen Corey Feldman 8 times now, and I couldn't have listed this if I hadn't sat down and looked it up. Like,
is that
8
true?
times?
That's
I don't remember
crazy.
seeing him 8 times.
That's crazy to me.
Wow.
Just Watch doesn't even have a listing for Madame's Place, but
no, but YouTube has all 6 episodes, and I just linked you the opening theme if you want to.
We're playing it.
I remember that.
We're doing
30
it.
30 seconds of this.
We're doing it. This is
Such
happening.
a thing of its time.
Here you go.
They often say she's an ageless wonder. Her lustful life makes this lady tick.
Oh gosh.
When a young man looks at Madame, she just throws herself right at him. She's young at heart and still getting her kicks.
Oh my gosh, dude.
You will believe a chunk of wood can talk after watching that.
I mean, I guess we lived with Alf for a few seasons. It's not that crazy to think, but man. Woo. Yeah, this isn't even listed on Just Watch. They don't even have a listing for it.
No, because they don't want you to just watch it.
I might have to watch this just for the hell of it.
There's something called
Save it for Adventure Club.
Yeah, maybe. That's bad.
At least
you want to jump forward.
What'd you
If you want
say?
to jump forward a couple of decades. If you want to jump forward a couple of decades, you can watch this weird ass straight to video looking thing called Lucky Fritz with Corey Feldman. After he's struck by lightning for the 3rd time, a shy country bumpkin discovers that everyone who comes in contact with him finds him irresistible.
Oh, good Lord. That sounds like a movie written by Corey Feldman.
Here, I got it.
Corey Feldman, starring Corey Feldman.
Well, here's a taste of it. Here, I'll just play a little.
What a shame. He's been obsessed with her for years, and she knows nothing about it.
Why doesn't he just talk to her?
He's just too shy and insecure.
Hey, Lucky.
Hi, Gresham.
Oh my gosh, dude. This looks like shit.
I'm not even watching the video, and that sounds horrible.
This looks like garbage, dude.
Yeah.
So Randy, you're telling us Dick Miller and Feldman are. Wait, did you say Feldman, or who'd you say was the other name that are our biggest film sack usuals.
Yes, Dick Miller. We've seen him 9 times now. He's our most sacked of this crew.
Of this movie, okay, but
Yeah.
not like most sacked of all time. You just mean
Oh
of
no,
this
gosh,
film.
no.
Okay, I was like, how have I missed all those Dick Miller appearances? I was losing my mind.
Like coming into this, we have this broad discussion about comedies on Film Sack and this sort of thing, but this is our 5th Tom Hanks movie, and so like Tom Hanks has this really clear line of demarcation, like before time Tom Hanks comic, after time Tom Hanks drama.
Right.
And
Is Forrest Gump the BC and AD of
right,
Tom
like
Hanks?
it's like a comedy, only it's played by like a drama. I don't
Right,
know.
exactly.
But he, he definitely tries to put stuff like this in his past, and I would argue that like some of his best work is like The Money Pit because it uses him fully. I mean, so does Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump uses him fully. Like it's everything that Tom Hanks can do all in one movie.
Yeah, it's the entire Buffalo when they get him in that movie. Yeah, for sure.
But like, we saw him in Cloud Atlas. We sacked Cloud Atlas, and if you'd asked me, yesterday what to name these movies, I wouldn't have even remembered it. Cloud Atlas.
I would have forgotten that too. Yeah.
I saw that and didn't hate it, but I remember feeling like I was going to forget it, and I did.
Yeah.
Like while I'm watching, I go, oh, this is ambitious. This is interesting. I know the book is beloved, all that. And then I got done with it and went, this isn't going to stay long. I'm going to go eat a sandwich, and then I'll remember this sandwich more than I will remember this movie. And I did.
Yeah.
I remember that sandwich. It was a roast beef thing that my wife made.
So yeah, that's funny. When you do look at his list, right, you go from like Money Pit, Volunteers, Bachelor Party, Dragnet, Big, Punchline, The Burbs, Turner and Hooch, Joe versus the Volcano, Bonfire of the Vanities. Then you get League of Their Own, and then he slips into rom-com mode for Sleepless in Seattle, and then Philadelphia. Philadelphia is the line
That's
of
the
demarcation.
kickoff. I agree.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that. I saw that with my sister, and I went, oh, okay, new Tom Hanks just dropped.
This is not Bachelor Party.
Yeah. New Hanks, who dis?
I think we should compliment whoever put together the known for list for Tom Hanks, because you can only pick 4 films, and that's real hard. But the 4 they picked are perfect. They are Big, Forrest Gump, Castaway, and Captain Phillips. And I might argue with Captain Phillips, but for Tom Hanks' entire career, that's a really good encapsulation. Like
that is,
these are movies that are really super focused on him, right? Especially Castaway. Castaway,
right? Yes.
And it's just like that. Wow, how'd you do that?
How do we feel about Castaway these days? Did we sack it or no? I can't remember.
I don't think we did. No.
Okay. I'm curious how.
It's been years since I've seen it, but I've seen it a couple times since I saw it in theaters, and I haven't not enjoyed it each time.
Yeah, I think I always like it. I think it probably holds up. That might be sackable though, from a just sort of educational standpoint for us to go through it. And
Yeah.
Dunaway is a part of your love for this movie, a Tom Hanks love. Like, do you feel like Tom?
Yes, I am. Tom Hanks was my life ever since I first saw him in Bosom Buddies. I had followed everything he did.
See, I went with Peter Scolari. I followed Peter Scolari after that. He's all I cared about for a long time.
Sure.
Get
your Henry Desmond in there for sure.
I think it's hard. It's easy to forget this because he is still so prominent in film. But back then, it was almost like punk rock to like Tom Hanks, or Tom Hanks was a new burgeoning like force in our growing up comedy world, right? Felt like it.
Yeah, he was like the high school senior when I was in my freshman year. That's what he was always. You looked up to him. It's like, oh, this is what the people slightly older than me are doing, and God, they're cool. And that's ever since then never gave it up. He'll always be my high school senior crush.
So just this is a total side note and not me directly, so I can't speak for it directly. But my brother-in-law Steve, who does a lot of finishing work around the country for different companies. The company he co-owns does you take old wrought iron from the 20s and restore it, or put up new bronze where old bronze has fallen apart, or whatever. It's that kind of stuff. Historical arts is what it's called. Anyway, Tom Hanks had a gig for some restoration, and their company got the bid. So he got to meet him. Went out there to this place he was restoring. Got to hang out with him for a minute. They were in the middle of making something big. I don't remember what it was. And he says that Tom Hanks is every bit as affable and nice and easy to be around as you think he is. Like, he is not faking that. That is not a bullcrap thing he does just for interviews, that he's like legitimately interested in what you're doing. He wants to talk to you. Has no problem talking about stuff he is in or the things you like about him. He's not like precious about it. He's supposed to be, based on his conversation with him, sound like he sounds like the nicest guy for real.
Yeah.
And that always appealed to me because it felt like somebody, who wasn't so separated from the rest of us back then.
Yeah. That interview I sent you through Discord, he's being interviewed and he's doing it from his home office. And in that home office is just walls of typewriters that are old school typewriters with the old school cases and everything. And just everything about that room just screams, I'm just one of you crazy people.
Yeah. This is my collection. What do you collect?
Yeah.
Kind of
It's
thing.
my collection.
Yeah.
What's your weird ass collection?
Type retro is what he does. He types retro.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
There was a gross thing. Do you guys know what I thought was gross?
My guess, and it wasn't really the fingers in the mouth as much as it was the keeping Walter's toupee in your underpants. And then
that's a good one. Did not make the top top spot, but it's pretty good.
Right.
So any other guesses of what
a
me
bee
out?
in Rick DeCommon's mouth?
Ding 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 ding. Where's my ding?
Yeah.
No, it's yes. Sorry, it's yes. If he's ever said yes, I would use that as a thing. That is correct. Anytime you depict, even if it's fake, even if it's dead, even if it's a prop, you got a bee in your mouth. Scott wants to get as far away from you as humanly possible. That sounds horrible. Ugh. I just can't imagine
thinking,
it.
all I can think is there is no point at which they're showing them washing Walter's toupee before they give it back to him. So he's going to get that toupee, and Tom Hanks did a lot of physical work between the time that he shoved it in his pants with the whole dog thing and everything. That thing definitely got some sweat.
Did we ever
ball sweat on it?
Yeah.
You're totally right. But did we ever get any kind of confirmation as to why they had the toupee?
It got mixed in with the mail, apparently.
Yeah.
I don't
They
remember
did that.
part.
He says when the detective comes at the end, he says, he was supposed to be checking the mail.
Oh.
Dr. Klopik.
By the
He
way,
kept saying Dr. Klopik. I'm like, no.
By the way, that detective is Rance Howard, father of Ron Howard.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
He looks a lot like him, or at least one of the detectives. There are two of them there, but the white guy, tall white guy, bald guy, was Tom Hanks's, or not Tom Hanks, Ron Howard's dad.
Hey, Scott, I want to play a really quick game with you because I put this together when thinking about Tom Hanks watching this movie.
Do it.
So I'm going to give you 4 things that people genuinely believe are truths about Tom Hanks. These are all conspiracy theories. I'm going to give you 4 conspiracy theories. You need to tell me which one is actually true.
Okay.
And
Are you
not
telling me he doesn't eat babies with
Right,
Hillary
okay.
Clinton in the basement of the pizza place?
Okay.
So wait. So one of these is true, is what you're saying. One of the
these
4
is true. You're
Okay.
going to guess which one is true.
All right.
Tom Hanks conspiracy theories. Here we go. A. He was seen wearing an ankle monitor. That's
Okay.
out
Number
there.
1.
True.
B. He is actually a Greek citizen.
Okay.
C.
True.
C. He was executed by the U.S. military.
Hey, that's false.
Okay.
Okay.
You think?
And D. He was a key part of the cabal of celebrities who initially spread COVID.
The jury's still out. The jury's still
I
out.
saw that episode of Saturday Night Live where he was hosting after. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with
But that bullshit.
Greek. The Greek thing.
Yeah, there you go. That's
Yeah,
been
he is actually a Greek citizen. That gets wrapped into so many conspiracy theories about Tom Hanks, like that
dual
he's
citizenship.
like, I guess that the country of Greece somehow has this shadowy power.
Wow. Yeah. Pulling all the strings.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last 2
weird.
make me want to throw up, but the rest of it I can deal with.
And there's some worse ones I didn't list, but like it's just so strange how if you're popular and you're nice and you have a lot of money, like that you just get glommed onto. You know?
Oh, of course. Yeah. It's the
We're
worst
seeing
part
the same
of that.
thing with Taylor Swift right now.
Yes, we are.
She ain't
Psyops.
done nothing. She ain't got freaking time to do nothing except her freaking music career. Look at the
Jeez.
girl. That's all she
Her
does.
freaking tour. Yeah, exactly. And she finds some time in between all that to attend a few games. And
Yeah. Did we have this problem when Jack Nicholson showed up to every Lakers game? No, we didn't.
No, because we didn't
No.
think he would run out on the court and propose to Charles Barkley at any point.
I just get what
Well,
I
that
don't
would've been great.
understand why people would go after. Why would people go after someone who has years and years of experience attacking back in song? Like, don't,
Right?
don't do this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're giving her several albums worth of material right now.
Yeah, if you flip off Eminem in the street, you know it's going to be in his next rap song.
Oh yeah,
if you,
you're gonna get.
If you break up with
Give me
Taylor
some bite
Swift,
back.
you're going to be a part of her thing. But this
I
idea where
don't
people
know
are
why
like,
somebody flipped me off in the middle of the street.
that's right. But people are like, she's a CIA operative plant. I'm like,
Right,
you guys are smoking all the wrong weed. What are you doing? Good Lord. Whatever. She's a national treasure, and everyone should just calm the F down.
It has made me really look forward to a Super Bowl where I don't care much about the teams because I'm just like, I can't wait. Like, I can't wait to see.
It's going to be stupid.
It's gonna be weird,
gonna
and
be
that's
so
what I'm
dumb.
there for.
It's going to be so dumb. Even the last playoff game where the camera stuck on her too long, and she could tell because she was looking at the screen. She yelled, "Get off of me!" It's like,
Exactly.
stop.
Yes. Yes. And heaven forbid, like there's, right now one of the sports betting apps is taking bets on whether or not Kelsey's going to propose to her at the game, and that really needs to be tied to a Chiefs win, because there is no way, if the 49ers win, that they're going to try and take the spotlight away from the 49ers for a Kelsey proposal.
I think they're normal enough people at heart that they do not care to do this in front of anyone. They're not going to do it. Why would they ever do that?
How awesome would it be for that proposal to happen? And then they cut over to a shirtless Jason Kelsey holding up his ticket from the wager he made.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
Knowing that this was going to happen.
All right, that'd be funny. What'd even be better? A commercial with him in a hallway throwing his jersey at her, saying, "Thanks for the Coke,
It's
kid."
for
or
you,
whatever.
kid.
Yeah,
so like, exactly like the Mean Joe Green Coca-Cola one.
Yeah,
Perfect.
There's all kinds of ways to ruin this, but if I had to guess, if they are serious about their relationship, there's no way they do this shit. There's no way.
Yeah.
She already is annoyed. She just wants to be at the game. She doesn't want to be filmed the whole time. We're the ones doing that.
They're not looking for more attention.
No,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're the ones doing it. That's the other thing, is everyone who's mad at her. I'm like, dude, she's not
Do you
filming
want to
herself.
Corey Feldman this too? Jeez, people.
Yeah. Be mad at Fox, be mad at TNT, be mad at whatever network's carrying the game.
TMZ. Yeah.
Yeah, whoever's doing it, they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, one thing I was going to mention here, where is it? I forgot. The thing that annoyed me the most about the movie was how long they let that trash sit out there, which is basically the whole film.
Right.
Which was great. They kept running over it. It became a character as well.
Yeah.
That's such a like kind of similar thing with Money Pit. You get these kind of running gags. I mean, we saw it with a recent watching we did of Real Genius on Couch Party, where it's just this kind of background running gag, the dog always showing up at the house being built, and it never gets explained.
Yeah.
It's just kind of always this
I think it was a commentary on the writer's strike at the time, similar to garbage strikes, and they were trying to say that these garbage men weren't going to take it anymore. We're garbage men, and we're not going to take it.
Well, is that what the water meant in
I think
Minority
you might
Report?
be reading something into that.
Yeah. That's what the rain means in Minority Report, Brian. That's now we understand.
That's right.
It all makes sense now.
Kind of funny watching Tom Hanks. I mean, I touched on this in my song, but Tom Hanks watching Mr. Rogers, and then he's going to play.
Oh yeah, I love that.
A few years later.
Oh right, I didn't even. You know what? Until you just said it, I kind of forgot about all that. I never saw that, so it's not in my head.
Oh, it's really good. Yeah,
I meant to see it. What was that called? Won't You Be My Neighbor?
It's called Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, I believe.
Something like that.
Yeah,
I saw the documentary and it had a similar name.
Worst name ever, apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Really?
No, I would give that to It Could Happen to You instead of Cop Gives Waitress.
But no,
$1 million tip or whatever it was.
You just remembered that title though.
Yes, because I hate it so much.
Yeah, same with Edge of Tomorrow.
Fine.
Edge of Tomorrow sucks.
We're not going to forget the opening discussion we had for the patrons about Vince Neil, because it was not because it was good.
Yeah, no,
titles are important.
Titles are important, but when they pick one that's not as good as the one they could have picked, we get annoyed.
Exactly.
Real quick here too. Also, I have a neighbor named Ray Peterson. I just wanted to throw that out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's not, we don't have any trouble with this. And the other thing this movie does, the whole movie hinges on the idea, this is okay because you can park your brain, but the whole idea that there's no such things as cops to call when you have probable cause. Like, there's enough going on with that house, including safety issues, there's a million different resources at your fingertips to come have that thing checked out, where
Disrepair,
you don't have to go break in and dig a hole. You don't have to do any of that. You know?
But
Right.
look, that's the balance here. You're a suburbanite. You're living next to these neighbors, and Ray mostly is trying to just be a good neighbor. He doesn't want to cause any trouble. Doesn't want any, nothing, no stir ups.
He assumes the best, right?
That's the pressure of living in suburbia.
But I do think it's illegal to bury something in your front yard, especially was it human remains is what they were burying
the
out there?
backyard. Yeah,
The
yeah,
backyard.
Yeah, they had enough. They had enough
Oh,
evidence.
What they weren't they burying? They were burying the trash. Like they were
You know
taking
how many
stuff out of-
times?
No.
Yeah.
But I really relate to this. You know how many times I've seen something kind of odd in our neighborhood, and you have to kind of go, "Am I going to call somebody, or am I going to let this pass?"
Mhm.
Yeah,
Am I gonna let this go?
I grew up in a weird neighborhood in the 80s, and this wasn't even close to as bad as some of the properties that I remember kind of staring
Right.
at and wondering, like they're places that are like falling in. Like the place, there's someone living in there, and the roof's going to collapse on them.
Yeah, but if you
eventually.
found a human femur bone, you probably would.
What kind of bone? That's human femur bone.
It's a human femur bone. You would probably call somebody or do something. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
That's so there's all types here in this movie. Some of them would. Ray would sneak over in your. No, I'm sorry. Ray would say nothing. Art would sneak over in your backyard, and then Rumsfeld might do something.
We had a neighbor that would we had pretty close knit neighbors, still do, and very frequently summer nights we'll be out on one of our driveways with a bunch of folding chairs and just sitting there chatting, drinking beer or whatever. But there was one neighbor who lived next door to this little cluster of six houses of people, and he would come in with his car, come down the street, open his garage door, go in, and the garage door, he would have it closing as he was pulling in, like basically the point where his tires wouldn't trigger the electric eye and make it go back up. As soon as he passed that, the door would close, and we would never see him until
that is great.
Yeah, until one point his water line broke or something outside broke, and it was going into one of our neighbors' houses, one of the close knit neighbors' houses, and so he had to go over there and say, "Hey, you're flooding my basement with your water."
Yeah.
And other than that, we never saw this guy, and we always wondered "Oh, what's he doing?" We kind of assumed Klopex kind of stuff, like he's killing people and he's bringing them in. And
yeah, I have a clip of it actually. You guys said, "Is this your water main?" And he said,
"No."
And you walk around.
That's exactly what he said. Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Scott, did you catch the Freakies breakfast cereal?
No,
I caught it.
Yes,
I
did.
Yes.
So
Tell me more.
Go ahead.
This again, like I can't imagine rewatching this movie, but it did really start out. It really started out setting my expectations high because like it's the first morning in this neighborhood, and for some reason the newspapers get delivered at 11 a.m. I don't understand that part, but we're going in and we're going to have breakfast, and Carrie Fisher has every piece of food in the house is out on the kitchen counters.
Everything in the Family Feud list of what can you eat for breakfast is in there.
And it's all out. And of course her husband doesn't want any of it, which is perfect.
So
right?
Freakies was a real thing? Was that a real cereal back in the day?
Oh yeah. I still have the little rubber somewhere. I have the little rubber characters that you got inside there. The big one was called Boss Hoss. That one I remember.
Right.
Wow.
Snoodles or something there's no Slork. No, God, what is the one with the trunk? There were names for each of these freakies, and
I didn't know Purina made cereal. Isn't their logo?
Yeah, Ralston was the parent company, but that looks like a Purina logo on there.
It's Ralston.
Yeah, it does.
Purina was a.
So that was the full company. It was Ralston Purina. Wow,
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Now
they were eating these later, and they were doing something weird that I don't remember anybody ever doing. They were both Carrie Fisher and Tom Hanks had notepads with pencils while watching Jeopardy. What exactly were they doing?
I was wondering about that. Like, were they? I think they were keeping their own scores as they got questions.
Maybe
and,
so.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, this is interesting. This cereal was discontinued in '76.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That is one old bowl of cereal that they're eating.
That's wild. Why would they use that? Okay, well, whatever. Maybe it was since it was out of print, you didn't have to pay anybody for using the brand or something. That's probably it.
Yeah. Oh, I got a box of Freakies at the house. We'll just bring that in.
Box of Freakies. Oh, for a while they had Fruity Freakies and they had Cocoa Freakies.
Yeah.
That's great.
I thought they brought these back for a short time. Did they not?
Doesn't say. Well, let's see.
No.
75, they had, the Burbs. They mentioned the Burbs in here. They also appear in the 2000 film Flakes, which was, I guess, was like a movie about the creation of cereals or something. Freaky Cereal appears in the 2017 film The Case for Christ.
Really? Okay. All right.
And then finally, post-credit scene, Star-Lord is seen wearing a Freakies t-shirt in the 2023 Guardians movie. So there you go.
He is. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, kind of funny. This cereal made by the same company that made Friskies. So you got Friskies and Freakies produced by the same company. And don't get those confused.
Yeah, don't mix those up, dude. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Although I think the neighbor, what's his name? What's the neighbor's name?
Yeah.
Art would eat it. He wouldn't care.
Art would eat it. Yep.
Yeah, he didn't give a shit.
Anything.
Dude, that guy, he died, by the way, this actor, pretty young.
Yeah,
and
comedian,
because he ate,
mostly.
Probably ate some weird shit.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know cause of death, but I'm just going to say it's because he ate some bad food. How about that? Complications from advanced diabetes. Well, I tell you, I guess we nailed it.
Yeah. I saw that coming.
I felt like most of the movie, he and Tom Hanks just didn't really have any chemistry. And it wasn't comedic lack of chemistry. Like they weren't like enemies or something in the movie. Right. Mm-hmm. But I just felt like, I don't know. They just didn't feel like buddies.
Trivia says they didn't get along.
I couldn't tell if that was, I thought that was kind of intentional. It's like, you kind of got that friend. I had these growing up, friends that were just friends of convenience. It was like, oh, yeah, they live next door. They're my,
they were your friend while they live here. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
The trivia claims that they did not get along. Let's see, where is it? Where is it? Somewhere. I thought it was in the top ones. Maybe it's others. Okay, I really wanted to see this. Oh, here it is. Tom Hanks and Rick Ducommun did not really get along during filming, according to Joe Dante. But Hanks was a very professional person and kept it very loose. Mm-hmm. But it sounds like they kind of bumped heads. So. Mm-hmm. But it does say earlier that everybody was so happy after the thing ended. It says everyone in the crew had such a good time working on the film. Tom Hanks personally bought everyone on the crew and all the other actors sunglasses and left a personal thank you note to everyone in the cast and crew. Aw.
That's nice. He's a nice guy.
That's nice. Sorry, but you were about to say something.
Oh, I was looking to see. Apparently, the back on the Freaky cereals, those little plastic toys I was telling you about, the full set of them, 7 PVC figures, selling for $129.99 on eBay.
Oh my gosh!
Nice. Did you Oreo
closed auction? No.
This sounds like a job for a 3D printer.
Yeah.
No kidding.
All right, you know what? We're gonna play a commercial here. Check this out. Freaky's cereal. Enjoy.
Oh, excellent.
This is the story of the Freakies and their perilous search for a home.
Oh my gosh, that's Burgess Meredith, by the way.
Yeah, what? This is more with the song Meet the Freakies. All right, whatever.
More.
The leader of the Freakies was the fearless Boss Moss. Whenever the Freakies had a problem, they ran to Boss Moss.
Boss Moss.
I understand exactly how you feel.
He never.
Oh my gosh.
Stuttering John Wayne.
I don't even know what to say. Okay, here's one from 74. I think this has a song.
Okay.
Let's try this one.
Yeah.
We are the Freakies, and this is our Freakies Street. We never miss a meal, cause we love our cereals. This is the big
they made it rhyme. They made it rhyme.
That's all new to me. None of this. I don't know any of this.
And if you're listening to this podcast and you don't have the energy to go look it up, just imagine the ugliest 70s art that you've ever seen.
It's like if somebody, it's like saying we have our crumb at home.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah,
but memorable clearly to most everybody but me.
Sure.
Pretty great.
Maybe my mom was real hardcore about no sugar cereal for a while, so I think maybe I was held. It was held away.
Oh
from
yeah,
me.
we went through a phase with my mom. She was like, okay, we're only eating. I forget what they were called, but they were like mostly freaking bran, and they were shaped like cat food. What the crap?
Oh, the little squares. They were little hollow squares, right?
Yeah, those.
Yes.
See, you know what I'm talking about? I said cat food immediately. Knew what I was talking about.
Really scratchy. Yes, they look like they seriously do look like dry cat food. They were squares of bran and super rough to tear up the top, the roof of your mouth.
What were they called? Do you remember the name?
Hated them.
This is ringing a bell too for me.
Oat Cracklin' Oat Squares or something. Not Cracklin' because that's Cracklin' Oat brand, but
Oats. Is it just Oat Squares or Oat?
Maybe just Oat Squares. Maybe.
Let's see.
I don't know. I was scarred for life. Obviously, can't remember a name, but
I can't either.
I remember Dino
Brand
Pebbles and
Squares.
Wackies. Those were discontinued. There's a lot
Yeah.
of. There's a lot of these. You know what? The whole
Cracklin' Oat brand. Is that it? Cracklin' Oat brand.
Cracklin' Oat brand. Is that it?
It was Cracklin'
Yeah,
Oat brand.
I think
Okay.
that's it. Yeah. Cracklin'
Yeah,
Oat's
this
right.
stuff
There you go.
sucks. It is
Yeah,
cat food.
there it is right there. Yes.
God.
Looks like cat
Oh.
food. It really does.
Such hate.
I didn't remember this at all.
Oh, it's so bad, Randy.
You're lucky.
Yeah, well, anything that's mostly brand, 90+%
Yeah.
brand is not going to be good.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I used to think that my least favorite was, and I know this, your mileage may vary, but I really hated the little pebbles. What were they called?
Grape nuts.
Grape nuts. I
Pebbles?
hated grape nuts.
Oh,
Yeah.
great. Oh my God.
Those
break
will
my
break
teeth.
a tooth.
Yeah,
I
hated
love
those
those
things.
nuts so much, like
But-
to this day.
Of course you do.
But Cracklin'
What?
Oat
I'm
brand.
serious. I'm dead
You know
serious.
what, Randy? You should try Cracklin' Oat brand then. If you like those, you might like
Yeah.
these.
Well, like because the whole thing about grape nuts is that you put a big heaping teaspoon of sugar on them, and slice a bunch of banana or other fruit,
Okay.
and it's delicious. It's delicious.
So
So
far,
you don't like this
the
cereal.
milk,
You
the
just like
sugar, and the banana
milk.
sound great.
Right.
Without the
That's what
grape
it
nuts.
sounds like.
Yeah.
Hey, kids, remember, don't drown your food.
No.
Right. Mayo, salt, ketchup, or goop.
Yeah.
That's how the song went. Come on.
Yeah.
Gotta
No.
finish it up.
It needs a beat, but yeah.
So before I have two things before we get off before we even go to clips, but the ending. So there's an alternate ending, original ending, and I shared it with you guys. It's
Yes,
still, the Klopeks are still bad. It's still, they
Right,
still got
Klopek
rid of the
bad.
map.
All right.
But they instead of Tom Hanks beating up the main Klopek, Dr. Klopek,
Yeah.
Werner, in the back of the ambulance, basically he's caught just as he's about to inject Tom Hanks by all of
Right.
the neighbors. They all open the door and find him in there.
That's an
there's a
interesting
great-
way
Did
of
you
doing
prefer
that.
that?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a great soliloquy or whatever that
Moment.
Henry Gibson, well, he gets to talk about, that's the thing about the suburbs. You buy the wrong kind of car, you do the wrong thing to your lawn, you do this, you do that, or you kill off the original owners, and the whole neighborhood talks about you. And it's just such a funny, he's right, except for that whole killing the neighbors or killing the previous owners thing.
Yeah.
But
Dealt from a different perspective. It's just basically the same speech that Tom Hanks makes just a little bit before he jumps into the ambulance. But yeah,
right.
but
Weirdos.
it's from the different perspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And then you don't get you get nothing about Art's house doesn't catch on fire. The ambulance doesn't even move. It just stays put. So the Pinocchio never drives off and gets busted that way. So you don't get the Art's wife's back joke.
Yeah.
It's interesting though, and there's no music until it plays the "It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood" theme.
I think if I remember correctly, the script was originally going to kill off Ray's character, or was it Art's character? One of them dies essentially at the very end, so that's how it ends instead. So it's a much darker script.
I can't
Yeah.
figure out
I don't
how this movie could have ended that would have made it work. Like it just, I don't know. There's some for comedies like this, we're very, very used to, and I personally really, really like when the movie ends with some sort of resolution between people. Often it's like Better Off Dead, John Cusack and the girl are now in love, and they're you could have had I don't know, like neighbors who didn't like each other but now they're best buds or something like that. Like there's just something missing, and it didn't even really try to go there. And probably because if you found out your neighbors actually were real serial killers, like what are you gonna do then? Right? Like
right.
Yeah.
It's
these
just,
were Tim Burton serial killers, right? Like in
Yes.
fact, the movie,
Yeah.
the whole movie,
Yeah, that's a good.
the movie
right.
kind of just reminded me of a Tim Burton movie anyway, kind of in a way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
some of the music was like, oh man, is that Danny Elfman? Because that freaking sounds like him.
I found the music. We didn't talk about this, but I found the music very interesting this time. Usually, I just roll with the music. I don't think anything about it because I've seen it a million times. But this time, I tried to figure out exactly what they were trying to, say with the music, and it was it was interesting because I felt it was a lot more homages to like the older mystery thriller films that I had seen in the past, and
Yeah,
but it was still kind of all over the place.
Kind of hitchhocky, sorry, Hitchcocky stuff.
Hitchhocky. It's the hitchhocky.
Let's go play some hitchhocky.
I got some hitchhocky in my left hip.
It does sound like a Potterism.
It sounds like a Harry Potter thing.
Hawkeye!
Hitchhocky.
Hitchhocky.
But like, yeah, the ending that you described, Brian, and then you put the copy in there, actually sounds hilarious. Like all the neighbors still think the Klopeks are innocent, yet Tom Hanks is dead in the back of the ambulance as it drives as it drives off. I kind of there's something that's kind of dark and twisted about that.
That would be a much darker ending for sure.
Yeah.
It did feel like the ending was missing something to me, and I thought and I hadn't had time to watch your extended thing, so I don't know. But does it feel like it plugs any holes or?
Well, that one basically. The resolution on the one I gave you is the same. It's not the one where Hanks dies or Ray dies, but it's a little bit. It doesn't feel like there's as much mayhem on the street at the end that the real film has.
Oh, I see.
So yeah,
gosh, there's a lot of people standing around.
There really are. A whole bunch of neighbors that you never see until this moment, apparently.
Mostly from Ricky's friends. A lot of those are there. It's fun.
Yeah, and teenage kids from all over the neighborhood are there, and all of them had terrible hair.
That was Ricky knows how to throw a party.
I remember thinking,
dude,
as somebody who was a teenager in the late '80s, I looked at that and went, "Our hair wasn't that bad, was it?"
No.
Oh, it was bad. It was terrible. And I still use the.
Oh man.
Yeah. Every time we order pizza, I always have to tell people you can't go now. I call it the pizza dude, and
pizza dude's coming.
Yeah, the pizza dude's coming. And that was a lot of pizza, by the way, for those many kids. There's no way. No way you're eating all that.
Oh, I want to see what Ricky Butler was actually. I think he was the murderer. I think he also murdered his parents because they're supposed to be out of town as well until Thursday. And he's getting away with a lot.
Oh, do they say that? I was wording about that. So they actually say his parents are out of town?
Yeah, his parents out of town. They've been home Thursday.
All right. I was thinking he was some sort of like, crypto bro or something. He had infinite money and could afford a house in a cul-de-sac on the.
It's a very weird portrayal in that way because they don't make that clear until the end, I think. Or close to the end. The same with what's his name's wife. It's like
with Art's wife, which you don't even see in this alternate ending. There's no Art's wife.
There's no Art's wife.
And Art had a kid's toy in the backyard of his house, but I don't think he has any kids. Or was the wife with the kids?
His kids are grown up. That's he's bored. He's
did
bored.
Did you just come up with this lore? Dunaway.
No, dude, I watched the movie. I told you I watched the movie a million times. All of it's in there.
Yeah.
I set out to give Brian Dunaway his episode, and I'm really, really proud of us because he is really standing up to this.
Yeah.
I'm proud of him and us.
I agree.
I'm liking the movie more because of Brian's love for this.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Same. There's something about this is like me and Time Bandits. Feels like that. Yes. But
I'm going to give one more thing here. The Joe Dante Wikipedia page has a fascinating section, and we may have talked about this a little bit when we talked about Gremlins or Gremlins 2 when we talked about Joe Dante, but this still blows my mind. There's a list of unrealized projects on the Joe Dante Wikipedia page, including a Jaws 3 People Zero, a Jaws sequel that was going to be pitched as a spoof.
Best name ever.
Great title.
A fourth Halloween movie, The Return of Michael Myers, an early attempt at a Batman film that would have had John Lithgow as the Joker, which would have been amazing.
Oh, wow.
My God.
Wow.
A version of Jurassic Park that he came up with.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my God.
A Mummy remake.
Before he gets any good CGI.
Right.
Remake. Okay.
My Favorite Martian starring Martin Short, a live-action adaptation of The Jetsons, a version of The Sixth Day.
My Favorite Martian... My Favorite Martian with Doc Brown was it
Christopher Lloyd?
No, it was the guy we just talked about. It was Burgess Meredith, wasn't it? Or am I thinking of something else?
No, it's about the movie.
Well, the original one, it was Ray Walston and
Ray
Incredible
Walston.
Hulk dude.
That's right.
David Banner.
It was a film from
it was Christopher Lloyd and Jeff Daniels. You're right. I'd forgotten about this completely.
Christopher Lloyd and Jeff Daniels? That's crazy.
Elizabeth Hurley, Daryl Hannah, Wallace Shawn. Wow, man, it's a comedy, or else I'd say we have to see this. But
but it may be so. It may be so little comedy.
It could
that
be.
It,
It could
less,
be. Yeah, it only made 36 million. It cost 65 million to make.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So speaking of comedies,
might be worth it. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Speaking of comedies, I'm watching this the other day, and I'm thinking about, will I ever watch it again? And I was thinking about movies that I rewatch a lot of movies, right?
Sure.
And so it's like, what do I rewatch? I think I rewatch comedies about 3-1 over dramas. Because rewatching something is a more joyful experience. Like, I will rewatch a drama, but I have to be in the right headspace for it, right? So anyway, I happen to be thinking about all of this at the same time that this huge Ask Reddit thread pops up, asking people, what's your most rewatchable comedy? And so I tracked it, and once it had kind of died down, I took it and sorted it a couple different ways, and it came up with the top 10 most rewatchable comedies.
Ooh, what do you got?
And I just want to give them to you really fast, because I think there's something here.
Rapid fire.
So number 10, The Princess Bride. Okay. Number 9, Zoolander. Number 8, Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Number 7, Groundhog Day. Number 6, The Naked Gun. Number 5, Office Space. Number 4, Clue. Number 3, Hot Fuzz. Number 2, Galaxy Quest. And at least according to Redditors, the number 1 most rewatchable comedy is My Cousin Vinny.
Really?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There were so many in that list I would have put higher than My Cousin Vinny. But a lot of the other ones on that list I'd agree with.
The number 10, what was 10 again?
The Princess Bride.
I would have put that way higher.
Yeah.
And, my kids
Office
watch
Space
that.
And
I don't think of Princess Bride
Groundhog
as a comedy
Day.
as much as just an adventure with comedy in it.
Yeah, but you could say that about a few of those. The Burbs is not on there. I would have actually expected the Burbs to be on there.
And I couldn't even find it. Like, no, I don't even think anybody mentioned the Burbs. And I think because like rewatchability, there's something to rewatchability that it's like, you got to have great quotes. You got to have great visuals. You got to have like something different. There needs to be something different about the movie. And like every one of those 10, I can tell you, what it is, like Groundhog Day it's the initial of
I don't know how
genre and so on.
I don't know how you rewatch Groundhog Day, because watching it once is like watching it 10 times. I don't know how you crap you guys.
Oh, really? I feel like
that
that's
movie,
a multi-watch film for me.
Yeah, but it's so quotable. You know?
No, that movie, I've seen that movie so many times. I think it's very rewatchable. But the ones I expected to be on there were, maybe they're too holiday-ish, but like Trains, Planes, and Automobiles. Trains, Planes, and Automobiles should be on there.
Yeah, totally.
So
this list is bullshit. What's all opinions?
Ghostbusters is more. That's adventure with comedy, though. So I don't know if that works. Right. Maybe it would. I don't know. But it's obviously, this is a list made by Redditors, and it's nothing scientific. But we should come up with our own. What the Film Sack guys and their top 5 rewatchable comedies.
The thing about them all is they're so quotable. Like, it really sticks out to me that I've known people quoting Office Space for the last 20 years and Clue for the last 40 years, and so on. And like, what is the substance that gets us to remember a quote and think it's fun to say it again and watch it again?
Owen doesn't have a friend.
Unsure, but Owen doesn't have but unsure, but I had a lot of people screaming out the same things that I love from this movie quotes, like on social media. I've had a bunch of people just come at me like, hey, Pinocchio, and just everything that I said for decades, people echoing that right back at me. So it may just be the group of people too.
Maybe,
people who follow me probably have a particular set of humor that they like.
Right.
I don't know.
For sure. For like the 15 years after Anchorman came out, I called it the most quotable movie that was ever made. And
I can't.
What?
Go ahead.
What were
I
you
was
gonna
gonna say, I can't remember. I can't remember even other than stop trying to make fetch a thing. I can't think of another thing from Clueless that I pull off the top of my head, and I've watched that several times.
That's Mean Girls, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Mean Girls. Clueless.
Oh, Mean Girls. See, look. See, I can't even remember those either.
Yep.
So apparently I can't remember anything from Clueless. I'm clueless.
Yeah, you're clueless.
Number 4 on this list was Clue. And like, it's highly rewatchable. You have to rewatch it in order to get it,
right?
Yeah. Clue.
And there are so many people in our circle, in our community, that love that movie unashamedly, and I agree. I mean, it's great, but is it infinitely rewatchable? I don't know.
For me, no.
I'd like to turn it on. It's fun.
For me, no. I don't mind, but I find Clue to be a little too manic. It's just a little too
too zany.
Too zany. Not a big zany fan. So
what is the term? This is something else I wrote down a bunch of terms for comedies, and I'm curious what the term is for the Burbs, because like there's manic, there's slapstick, there's zany. Those are all different movies. This is not that.
It's a
What is
comedy that
this?
makes you uncomfortable. Squirmity.
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 I like Squirmity.
To me, my top films, if you ask me what my top films are, they're all going to be comedy horror. I mean, Ghostbusters was the first that really grabbed me and said, this is my movie. Even Star Wars never felt like my movie. I love Star Wars, and I took a lot of stuff on from it, but I didn't feel like I was out there beating the streets telling people, hey, you got to watch the Star Wars. You got to watch the Star Wars. But I really felt committed to Ghostbusters. I felt like I was like, oh, everybody's got to see it. They got to see it.
Yeah.
And that Burbs, there's several other that I like in comedy horror. So I was surprised that they listed it as comedy mystery thriller. I think is the title they gave this film. So
I can tell you as a father, I could not make my kids watch Back to the Future faster than I did. Like I couldn't wait for them to see it. It was like,
you gotta watch Back to the Future. Check it out.
Yeah, because to me that was like the quintessential. And Ghostbusters too. It's similar. Which is ironic. I haven't seen the new Ghostbusters at all. Either of the two.
Oh,
new
dude,
ones.
it's so good.
Oh, so good.
I mean, is it so good or is it okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
No, I done Paul Rudd.
Worth it.
Paul Rudd. Yeah, Paul Rudd Ghostbusters stuff.
Yeah, I would say the Ghostbusters Afterlife is my favorite Ghostbusters movie.
Really?
Until this new one, right? We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Right.
Like I don't know. I don't think of the original first Ghostbusters movie as highly rewatchable. Not like Stripes is, you know.
Oh
my gosh! I don't know why.
You think
I don't know
Stripes
why.
is more to you? Right to you, Stripes is more rewatchable than Ghostbusters.
Then Ghostbusters. That's interesting.
Yeah,
I would definitely put Ghostbusters higher on the rewatchable list.
Yeah, I like Stripes though.
Once again,
was that in that Reddit list?
Taste.
Randy, was Ghostbusters in that list?
Should have been.
No, and so like my angle was if Anchorman isn't in your top 10 most rewatchables, I don't know what's going on. But like we all have those. Everybody seems to have those. Like
I'm going to say unpopular opinion. After you've been so kind to me about the Burbs, I'm going to say the Anchorman kind of wears on me. It's a little.
I have never seen the Anchormans, either one.
Oh, really?
Never seen
the
them.
Anchormans.
I don't know. I mean,
it's a bad movie. I like it. It's good, but it wears on me. It's exhausting.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a very self-aware comedy. It knows it's like it knows the type of jokes that Will Ferrell is really good at delivering, and it makes him deliver those really well. But it's self-aware. Like
and the problem is their sort of extended crew went and made a ton of movies just like it in the years that followed it. And so they kind of all ran together, and you have great movies like Wedding Crashers, and but it's not like it's not singular at some point.
Good point. Speaking of points, it's time to earn some points with the people who like clips.
Nicely done.
Yeah,
nicely done.
You like that transition? Well, good,
really
because here come the clips from it. For example, let's talk about what the neighbor did.
What are you doing up?
Walter's dog just took a dump on Rumsfield's lawn again.
Good, honey.
She is underappreciated in this. I really like
she
her.
is.
Here is. Oh, I just wrote. Does this bug Ibbot? Ibbot, you ready?
Oh, I know it. You don't even have to do it. It is the talking while eating. So much of that in that opening.
My God, it was terrible.
Here it is.
I like grave diggers.
Maybe.
I saw that and immediately went, Ibbot.
Yeah,
Ibbot
I can't
hates
do
this.
it. That is you found my kryptonite.
Yep. Here's trains his dog. I can't remember what this is.
And you know why? Because he trains his dog to crap in my yard.
Oh my gosh, Bruce Dern, you're the best.
Yeah.
I recorded the gross moment with the bee. Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
Run
wouldn't
for
be able to
water.
hear him flying, and you still hear him flying when you see this dead bee coming out of Rick DeConnen's mouth.
Yeah, it's cheap sound design in that, and same with him touching his teeth and having it go when he touches it.
I wonder if it's if it was just a real dead bee or if it was a prop. I don't know.
I don't know either, but whatever that was, it looked real. Looked like a wet dead bee to me. Bah.
Yes, like the legs are dragging and stuff on his tongue, which
oh, that's so gross.
Oh, why'd you say it that way?
What grossed Randy out the most in
this episode of the show?
Posthumously, yes.
This clip is called "How Hot Was It?"
Real hot. It was sweltering. You know that heat where your underwear sweats and it crawls up the... Anyway, it's hot, okay?
Thanks for not going all the way there, bud. Glad you didn't finish that off. Hi. I like this. Hi, your house stinks.
Hi, your house stinks.
That's good. That's fun.
Yeah, you guys going to say that? Hi, your house stinks?
Hi, your house stinks.
Awesome.
It's almost like a question.
Hi, your house stinks.
Yeah, very much.
I feel like they got several takes, and that was the one where he said "host" the least.
Oh, let's see.
Hi, your house stinks.
Oh yeah, he does. He has an accent.
Canadian. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
Hides it.
Here's a cat thing.
Smells like they're cooking a goddamn cat over there.
There are times that he sounds like if you close your eyes, you can imagine Joe Biden saying it.
Yeah, he has a real Biden vibe to him.
He does. Yeah.
And the older he gets, the more he does. Dick Miller and Robert Picardo together at last.
No way Wednesday night. I'm gonna leave.
This seminar could change your life, Vic. The man is a great healer.
And I'm a great bowler. And Wednesday night we're taking on Roselli Plumbing.
That guy. It's just the same guy and everything.
Yes.
And we love him for it.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
And Dante took him everywhere he went, seems like.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
The two Gremlins movies and
yep. It's like here.
Inner Space, he's in there. Yeah.
I think he's in Small Soldiers, I think.
He's kind of the Christopher Guest collection kind of thing, the equivalent for Joe Dante.
Did we do
Christopher Guest collection is awesome. It sounds like something at Macy's.
Yeah.
Like something you get a new one every month.
Yeah. And if you order now,
right.
you'll get two left shoes from one
Order
movie.
now and get the Wes Anderson collection.
Oh man, I don't know if I want that one or not. Here is some serious Woody, some Woody vibes. So here's some serious Woody from Tom Hanks. Enjoy.
Why?
You're acting like what?
What am I acting like, Carol?
That's his Woody voice.
Oh yeah.
He does do that. Yeah.
There's a snake in my boot, Carol.
Another just him going, why?
Why?
I mean, that's so Woody.
Yeah.
You are garbage man.
Well, you're gonna pick up the mess because you are a garbage man.
Wasn't he laying backwards in the
He
thing?
was.
Yeah.
He came out half shaven and he was upside down.
Yeah.
I want to thank you again for bringing Bruce Dern in this movie into my life.
Yeah,
Seriously,
it's great.
He's
He's so
the star
great.
of the thing.
I mean, I love him. I love him in Hateful Eight. I love him in Nebraska. I love him in everything. But this is top of the block for that guy. I love it. All right. Oh, we already played this. But I'll play it again.
I hate cul-de-sacs.
That's Dick Miller. Didn't like it. Parting words. Soldiers have a saying, and here it is.
A soldier's way saves the day.
Uh-huh. Do you think they don't really say that, right? That's not a thing.
Never heard
He
that
does.
before.
I don't know.
I mean,
Maybe in his unit.
in his unit,
Yeah.
sure. Something without hair.
They don't ever leave the house without their hair.
Oh, yeah, he's talking about his thing.
Walters.
Here's a great line we all love.
I want to kill everyone. Satan is good. Satan is our pal.
God.
I say that all the time too, just randomly.
Just imagine if it had been Rick Moranis. Like, I can't stop thinking, like, they're so close.
I want
to
John
greatness.
Candy so they just eat all the time. John Candy would fit that stereotype.
Yeah, the problem with Rick Moranis is, Tom Hanks's character is already unsure and a little bit meek about wanting to get involved with this and wants to be the voice of reason. I feel like Rick Moranis wouldn't have enough oomph to be able to convince him to go.
Yeah.
So
Overly confident.
Most of the people in this movie, most of the characters are neurotic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just like, well, this guy, he's close. Like he's almost neurotic enough for me. I just need more.
You could almost have him as a fourth neighbor who's let's get rid of the Corey Haim or the Corey Feldman crap and replace it with a nervous little twerpy neighbor who's very hesitant, hyper, is afraid he's going to catch everything, You'll get sick in there. You know, like a little nerd guy.
You can even get that with like a Eugene Levy kind of nerd kind of thing too.
Yeah, I could have gone for that. That'd have been all right. You live next door.
You are the one who lives next door.
Yeah, Brother Theodore.
Brother Theodore.
Love that guy.
Love him.
Guy rocks. Here's some sardine sounds. It's pretty gross.
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I know. That was oh god, that was so disgusting. That was
love sardine on a pretzel though. Just like the fact that, you know, Carrie kind of nods like you need to do this.
Yeah.
You need to have one of those.
She passes it off. She shakes off the sardines and then she says, "Oh yeah, you got to, Ray."
Yeah, makes her husband do it. How lame.
Yeah.
That really did disturb me. Like I grew up with a dad who had every kind of meat in a tin that was possible to have. Like the pantry at our home had, you know, the Vienna sausages and the sardines and just like everything you could have possibly had. Spam
meats.
I liked that stuff as a kid. Potted meats of all sorts. I kind of liked it.
Oh yeah. I mean, sardines, like you just don't eat them straight out of the can. Find something else to do with the sardines, and they're going to be okay.
I agree.
But you don't eat them straight out of the can.
I agree with that. My brother would
that's
eat
why
the
it was
raw.
funny.
He would eat them right out of the can, my brother, but I could never do that. That was gross.
Nope.
But you could eat them with something. A pretzel is not it, though. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Here's the full line with the no in it.
Klopek. What is that, Slavic?
No.
There. That's where you get the no.
I don't understand why it was only parked outside all day.
Also, these they never really had resolution to this. The chick in the bucket is why he's doing this, but Tom Hanks sneezes after he eats the sardine.
Oh, yeah.
This is so weird. Listen to the sound. That's so weird.
It is weird. And he says something like house dust or moving dust or
He
something.
said packing dust.
I'm just thinking, dude, you're allergic to sardines or something. Freaking get out of there.
You're about to die.
Yeah.
He spit stuff out too, so I wasn't sure if he was like holding it and was trying to spit it out or what, or just got choked on it. It was
He was gagging. It was really weird, and they just never addressed it again. So I figured, all right, check in the bucket. Good job. Parked all day.
Parked outside all day.
I use that every day as well.
He does look like the heat
I
miser.
need to be extra sarcastic.
Just like the heat. No, not the heat miser. No, the heat miser.
Yeah, the heat miser. Yeah.
I always get him.
Miser.
What are the
You
snow
put some
one?
flaming hair on the top of his head, and he is that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. All right, ask him yourself.
Why don't you ask him yourself?
Another good line from him. Tom Hanks says he's sorry.
Sorry! Ow!
All right.
So a classic Hanks.
Sorry.
Right there.
Ow. Yeah, exactly. Something about your balls.
Why don't you just take your balls out of your wife's purse?
Okay. All right.
Wow.
Sure.
Good
Why
one.
not? Rance Howard, Ron Howard's dad, talking.
Destruction of private property, destruction of public property, 3 counts of criminal trespassing, harassment, assault, vandalism, and that poor old man claims he's got a ransom note that says you kidnapped his dog.
His job was to sum up where we were at that point in the
Yes, everything.
That's right.
Yep.
How insane you've been.
Yep.
Yep.
Then at the end, we get a little taste of Burton. Feels very Tim Burton, this part. I mean, that's just like Burton-y as
Yeah,
hell.
very Elfman. Yeah.
Yep. And that's your clips, which leads us to this. It's the Film Sack checklist. Theodore Gottlieb for president. Check. Not sure gas lines break like that. Check. And finally, sizzling fillings are not a thing. Check.
Right.
Star Trek connections. Please tell me Brother Theodore is in Star Trek. Please.
Okay, we got a bunch, so I'm going to try to go fast. So we have Wendy Shaw, who was Bonnie Rumsfeld. That's the lady in the bikini on the lawn.
Yeah.
She was in an episode of Voyager. We have Carrie Scott, one of the friends of Ricky. Was young Spock in Star Trek V.
Whoa!
We have we have Corey Danziger, who was Dave Peterson in this movie, was in an episode of The Next Generation. Then the two big ones, we have Dick Miller. Dick Miller managed to get into The Next Generation in an episode and in an episode of Deep Space Nine. And we have, of course, Robert Picardo, Joe the Garbage Man.
Yep.
Robert Picardo is all over Star Trek ever since he first appeared in Deep Space Nine as the Dr. Louis Zimmerman, the basis for the emergency medical hologram.
I didn't know. I didn't know he was in DS9 before Voyager. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was a doctor, and he scans himself, and he makes himself into the emergency medical hologram.
I did not know that. That's wild. How did I miss that?
That's why he's a natural for Voyager.
I'm about due for a rewatch at DS9. I might do that. I need some good. I need a backgroundy thing when I'm done with. I started watching St. Elsewhere in the background. It's great. And holds up.
You sent me that horrible cover of Born to Run from one of the
episodes.
It's
so bad. It's from the pilot, so we can forgive him, I guess, because pilots are weird, but that show's great. And I didn't realize it's the same showrunners that would go on to do Arrested Development, so maybe that explains why I like both those shows a lot. I don't know.
Sure.
Let's see here. Let's move on then to the soundtrack grade. I'd give it a PFT for Perfect for This. I don't think there's anything wrong with any of it. It's all good.
Freaking loved how every time Rumsfeld was doing something militaristic, we got a little hook from the movie Patton.
Yeah.
I loved that.
There's like lots of marchy sounding military stuff. That was great. It was I like that stereotype. I like it less these days because people take it too seriously, but I like a overly militaristic 80s guy who saw some shit in Nam, and never quite got over it. Something about that.
Very funny.
Let's get to the social media post. This is where you guys, in your wisdom, score about 280 characters worth of content that describe this film. Let's start with Randy this week.
The Burbs. Oh, youngish Tom Hanks, you're so much better than this. Carrie Fisher? Why?
Haiku? That was haiku, wasn't it?
Wow.
It was, yeah.
I love it.
Wow.
Love it.
We're in the haiku phase. Let's jump over to Brian Dunaway and his post.
Perfect. The Burbs, a cul-de-sac full of double-fisted empty beer can crushing comedy fun. Hashtag, you keep a horse in the basement?
Oh, yeah, the dog. Kind of forgot about the dog.
Yeah.
Dog's chick in the bucket also.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Brian Dunaway, thank you. Brian Ibbett, it's your turn.
Oh, no, thank you.
The Burbs. Just goes to show you should keep your nose out of your neighbor's business unless you think that they really did kill and burn up the previous neighbors, in which you should definitely not keep your nose out of your neighbor's business.
Nice. That's good advice. Lock that in.
You should keep your nose out of their incinerator. Jesus.
Yeah.
A Buick.
Thermostat. Yeah, thermostat. Does that usually go up to 5,000 degrees?
Not to world build too much, but do you think when they came back with all the skulls in their trunk,
oh my God,
are those their victims or are they gathering?
They're the ones they dug up from the backyard.
Oh.
After they figured out they were onto them.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I get it, I guess. I thought maybe
I
they
need you to explain. I did need you to explain this movie.
It really, I honestly, I watched this movie and I didn't come away with many questions or even really thoughts about it. And it's fascinating to me to be talking to someone who's seen it several times.
Yeah.
Like, it's just fascinating.
Yeah. And
because
who
like,
loves
I didn't
it as
care
much
for
as
it the first time I watched it. It wasn't until the second time I watched it, I was like, oh shit, this has actually got this is actually a different movie than I thought it was.
Yeah, it's your jam, your lifelong jam.
Yeah, I didn't even want to watch it when my friend said, hey, I didn't ever seen The Burbs. And I was like, oh yeah, I watched it at the theater. I didn't think it was that great, but we can watch it. And we watched it and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff I didn't see. So.
And it kept you guys out of trouble that 2 hours.
Yeah, and I kept going back.
Yeah. Very nice. Let's get to the alternate titles. This was just handed to me by a crack team of alternate title people. And here's what it says. This first one is The Funny Pit. It's not bad.
Oh, that's good.
It's a little like the Money Pit, but with funny. Or Dern After Reading. I like that one. That was a fun one.
That's pretty good.
Let's get to the some text. Now I'm going to rip through these because it's all text this week, and there are 3 of them. And I wanted to read these because they're all pretty great. Ryan wrote in and says, I do like to go back and listen to previous episodes of Film Sack whenever I happen to watch a movie that is on the list. In this case, it was the A-Team, episode 522. Oh. They did the Star Trek connection in the movie, and you guys missed it. This is when they are breaking Murdoch out and play the 3D movie leading to the Hummer crushing into a building. The A-Team theme is playing, and the movie is listing the actors in opening credits. Reginald Barkley is listed as one of the side actors. It's a rather random insert, so I think that so I think someone in the crew is a fan of Film Sack and put the connection in the movie intentionally.
Okay.
So he also sent me a screenshot, which I now can't find. I don't know where that went, but I'll see if I can find it. But the screenshot is indeed, they put not
Reginald
the actor,
Barkley.
they put the character Reginald Barkley from Star Trek in there. Isn't that great?
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, it's great.
I don't know how we missed that, but we did. Thank you, Ryan, for that. We also got one here from an anonymous listener who says, "Hey guys, you guys were talking about the Haunted Hill movies with names sounded like Hell House and so on, but none of you mentioned episode 311, where the color was amber was the color of our energy that day." Anyway, where you covered the Legend of Hell House.
That was the one I was trying to remember, and that's the one with shit. That audio clip you've got, I think.
Shit. Yeah, let's see if I can find it. That one's hard to find because I think I just called it shit. Wait, do that again. Yeah. Do it again.
Because I do it with the echo. Shit.
All right, we're gonna see if I can find it real quick because I have a lot of shits. All right, here we go. Here are a few shits.
Shit montage.
Shit gratiefter.
No, that's you. Hold on. Here we go.
Holy shit, boss.
No.
Chicken shit money.
No.
Oh, shit.
No. Hold on.
Hold the bullshit. Life's a joke. Shit burn.
Yeah, that didn't open up shit.
Bullshit.
Well, that's a shit name.
Useless.
Shit on me.
Shit.
Remember this piece of shit.
This shit's getting...
You meddling the shitter.
Hey, man.
That's some weird
We're almost there. I just know it.
You heard shit, monkey boy.
shit, man. He's always... Oh, shit.
Honey, fire...
I live for this shit. I don't give a shit. Hoo-ah!
We're almost there.
Holy shit.
Oh.
Serious shit.
You know, you are worse than a week of...
We call it cheating. From now on,
You stupid...
I'm gonna find it.
Oh, shit.
Holy shit. Well, I'm looking... That's heavy shit. It's dead. Why don't we cut...
Bullshit.
Who gives a shit?
Who gives it?
By someone who...
Someone count.
I can't believe I haven't found it yet.
shit.
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 All right.
Dogs are... That is one.
Shit.
He's running the... All right, I'm... Can... Hey.
Oh, wait.
Shit. Hey. Did I...
Shit.
I can't find it, dude.
Oh, no. Oh, my God.
I know it's in
this
here.
Makes me think of a great contest. You know how people count candies in a jar and whoever gets closest wins? I think we should count how many shits you have in that folder.
No, you're not in that page.
Maybe this is it.
Shit.
That's it.
There it is right there.
Well done.
Shit.
It took so long to get it.
The Legend of Hell House.
Yeah. All right. Well, we went a long way to deal with that. How about this one? A final message from another anonymous listener says, I have a weird movie recommendation for next time you guys are in the mood for such a film. It's called Youth, starring Michael Caine and Harvey Keitel. It also has a great performance by Paul Dano, and really, just from one bizarre breakfast that sticks in my mind forever. Another good one is an early Taika Waititi movie called Eagle vs. Shark. I also love that movie.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
If you haven't seen them, put them on their list or on your list. Thanks for the great content. Y'all increase the quality of my life every single week.
Aw, thank you.
I've never heard of Youth. Anyone heard of this?
I haven't heard of it either.
I haven't seen Youth in forever.
I mean, if Paul did
the movie, yeah.
I was thinking it was like a thinner thing where, Harvey Keitel and Michael Caine get younger and younger throughout the film.
It's 20. Oh, did he even say Rachel Weisz is in this? 2015. Let's see here. Paul Dano, as he mentioned. Jane Fonda's in this. Okay, you know what? You got me curious. Okay, a retired orchestra conductor is on vacation with his daughter and his film director best friend in the Alps when he receives an invitation from Queen Elizabeth to perform for Prince Philip's birthday. I mean, that sounds weird, or it sounds, I don't know, boring.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something weird in it.
That sounds boring.
It's also funny how many movies there are called Youth. Oh my gosh.
Oh, there's a
ton.
ton.
Really search for this one.
Oh my gosh,
it's like
there's
we're
so
obsessed
many.
with it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we must really be into youth and hate old age. Well, excellent. Thank you all for your messages. These all came to us at 801-471-0462. You can also leave voicemails there. And if you prefer an email, you can do that, filmsack@gmail.com. I would also like to thank some great patrons of ours, Cameron Grantham, Daryl Quinton, and Robert Andrews, just 3 of the many patrons that now support us and like their favorite film show. If you like it too, well, good news. You can get no commercials ever, pre-show content every week, and monthly episode specials from the hosts, as well as some art in the mail. All this stuff can be yours, but you got to sign up today at patreon.com/filmsack. Our next movie is
Hollywood Homicide.
Homicide.
Hollywood Homicide. I played this video game.
What?
Yeah, I was going to say. It feels like it.
What is this? The Harrison Ford, Josh Hartnett thing? Okay.
Exactly. It's
about
yeah. 2003 Ron Shelton movie. And it's also got, your Bruce Greenwood and Keith
Lolita
David.
Davidovich and Lita Olin.
Oh, my.
Never saw it.
Eric
Always
Idle.
wanted to.
Eric Idle? Really?
Dwight
Idle.
Yoakam and Lou Diamond Phillips.
Lou Diamond Phillips? What? I like Dwight Yoakam. He plays a good bad guy. I assume that's what he is again. But
yeah.
Keith David? Shit. Well, Isaiah Washington? Oh, my gosh. All right. Well, it also looks like
another comedy.
Yeah, kind of. But
good luck, folks. Good luck.
Is it a comedy or is it like what is this? Action, comedy, crime, drama, thriller. That's what it says.
Great.
Action, comedy, drama. Yeah.
No horror? Wow, they couldn't figure out a way to get horror in there?
That's unfortunate.
That could describe, there's been a lot of film sack movies that have a ton of comedic elements, and it's fine. Anytime we've watched a Schwarzenegger movie, right? Like he's making jokes. So
all right. I never saw it, so I'm open. I'm an open book. Let's do it. Let's give it a shot. Hollywood Homicide, currently streaming on Max, and that is HBO Max for the stubborn. Okay.
HBO Max.
Yeah. You're one of those, Brian. You're one of those.
Yeah. Watch it. I'll be posting later on Twitter how we're going to be watching this on HBO Max.
Excellent.
Great.
That makes me warm inside of my cockles. Let's move out of here now and say the following thing. We are going to be back next week with that, so please check that out. And also look forward to a February bonus host show for our patrons. By who? Is it you?
That's me.
That's you. That's right.
Yay!
Yeah, I'm excited for whatever you come up with. Those are a really fun aspect of being a patron, everybody. So check that out. That is going to do it for us. Sorry, go ahead.
It's the only time that I've ever solo podcasted. Like, I realized that, I did college radio, so, I'm not uncomfortable. It's just, since I started doing podcasts, it's always been with Scott Johnson.
With somebody else, yeah.
And
I don't do that much solo either. I've done it, but these are, I don't know, there's something about these because we're really digging into our film stuff, and I don't know, there's something special about them, so they're really fun to do, and I hope people enjoy them. In fact, I remember when we said, Randy, have you ever done a solo show before? And you said,
no.
And I said, all right, then. All right, that is going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening. For me, for Brian, and for Randy.
Unconscious chanting.
We'll see you next time.
Get more at frogpants.com.
Smells like they're cooking a goddamn cat over there.
Yeah.